We are unveiling a memorial for Becky Gelatt. As you probably know, Becky was a fabulous member of our community. I studied with her for 37 years. Actually took some yoga classes from her just a few months before she got sick. So she was a steady force in our community, and I put up a GoFundMe, and we had lots of people donate money to do something special for her. So I'm thrilled that this is happening. We have some place to come and be in her essence, and it's the Healing Garden. It's a community space, and some of us that live in the community come and work the garden, and so I live right down the street, so I'll be able to come and be here and make sure Becky's always got some flowers around her. You know, besides yoga, gardening was. Michael Eddy is here, the artist. And he has a little story. He grew up next door to Becky. Comment? I think it's Wednesday will be a year since we lost Becky. So I was really happy that we had the funds to do this, and we found the perfect place to place her. And thank you for coming. He's going to take it and unveil. Thank you.
I get to welcome everybody. Thank you all for coming. You know, I think we all knew Becky, you know, probably different capacities, but I had the opportunity that when I was mayor for 12 years, Becky walked, knocked doors, did a lot of stuff for me personally. And then as mayor, we started an organization called Covington Gardens Partnership, which was patterned after Parkway Partners in New Orleans, which needed a lot of volunteers. And Becky was always there to volunteer. Fast forward a few years, and we, insurance the way it is, our 120 some odd employees, we had to develop a wellness program. And part of our wellness was yoga. And we got Becky to come to City Hall and do yoga. And she would bring everything, her mats and everything, to City Hall to do yoga. And when we were doing these health screenings, you know, we were screening people and their blood pressure was through the roof. And so we sent them to the hospital. Unfortunately, myself and my assistant were the only people who took advantage of the yoga. But she would come to City Hall, we'd do it in the council chambers, and, you know, for lunchtime. Everybody was invited. And eventually Becky said, why don't we just go to my studio? Yeah. And I called it stretch and snooze because it relaxed me. And by the time the yoga was over, I was snoozing. And then knowing Becky after that, you know, I mean, I've known Becky, I guess, since the late 80s. How long is that now? 30-something years. And, you know, it just seemed like every time we ran into each other, there was something else going on with her garden. She was living over on 11th Avenue and on Mile Branch, and had planted Mile Branch. And every chance she got, she was out in her garden. The yoga, I didn't continue the yoga, but that's the last time I did yoga. Anyway, Becky was somebody
you're welcome to join me for Zoom.
I need to do that. So I just, does anybody want to say anything about Becky? Everybody probably has a story.
I'll say a little something. So I knew Becky when I was very young, from I guess 4 years old to 10 years old, and she lived in Florida States when I knew her the most, and she kept me in line as a young boy, and I was always out and about. And this is well before technology ever took place, and always riding my bike, and I would always see her, and always working on something, always outside. And she had an amazing spread right there on Dogwood, and fully fenced around, really couldn't see. We would always want to see what was over the fence. We were too short to see anything. And one time she invited us in to see everything. It was an amazing labyrinth with these amazing flowers and full garden. And it was beautiful. You didn't feel like you were in Louisiana. So she was a kind of like another mother figure type in the neighborhood. She was very familiar with all the kids in the neighborhood. But yes, very good woman. My family respected her so much, and I'm grateful to be able to do this. It's very nice.
You know, you say when she was living in Flowers Estates, and that's when I met her, when she was living in Flowers. And when I went to her house, she took this brick ranch house and turned it into a pretty incredible house. I mean, took walls down, did whatever, but it was so different when you walked inside. Her design, she had a really good sense of design. Yard, houses, etc. Anybody else want to say something?
Becky and I were in a couple places together. Off to the life of me, I can't remember how long ago that was or what place they were in North Carolina. It was here in Covington. And she was going to play with me, and she had a cast party in her house. And she wanted to show me her yoga. So I went in, and she had almost like a trapeze. I don't remember exactly what it looked like, but it looked like sort of a trapeze to me. She said, "Get on it, I'm going to turn you upside down." I said, "You're not turning me upside down." And I had just enough to drink, and she said, "Yes, I am." And so she got me on that thing, and before you know it, I was hanging upside down on her yoga trapeze. But she was a good friend, and I loved her a lot.
Anybody else? This is a great place to have this sculpture. You know, the Garden Club originally did this, and over the years it's been added to, and most recently I think Jan Gaden and I don't know how many other people volunteered to clean it up, and which has really freshened it up and has made it but there are a lot of people who are here, monuments, and you know, you can see it. I think Becky's is very special in the fact that it's a beautiful sculpture that Michael did. But I think it's a great place for her. We also planted a tree over there. That is a dawn redwood. It's a metasequoia. It's going to grow to be 360 feet tall. Anyway, it's over there. Hopefully we get a little rain because we need a little bit of rain. But so, anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, Diane.
I met Becky probably by taking her yoga class when she was renting a studio right down here. But we got to be friends as well. And when I started studying massage therapy in my early 40s, I wanted to make this a new career. And I had to practice as many hours as I had in class, throughout the course of the class. And so I was telling everybody, would you like a massage? I'm studying. And Becky said, put me down for one a week. And then when I went for the first one, she was so supportive. But she also said, I'm paying you for this. I'm paying you for every week, even though you're a student, because I want to support your new venture. You know? So by the time I finished my class, I had saved enough money for a portable massage table and could get started right away. So I know that she did such things whenever she saw an opportunity to lift you up.
Yeah, always good to be, always a smile, always happy.
I'll just add on to your story, because after you all moved the yoga classes to her studio, I would go with you at lunch also, because I was working for the city. And yeah, you would not just snooze, but you would snore. And you would just pass out.
Well, I like stretch and snooze better than stretch and snore.
And so in Becky's last days, when I went to visit her a few times, I told her that story because she was so strict about her yoga classes and everybody doing the right thing. And I said, do you remember that Keith used to come to your class and you would allow him to sleep through the whole thing and snore? And she said, that's because he was there. So she made special exceptions for you. I want you to know that none of us ever had that privilege.
Well, and I appreciate you telling me, because I didn't know that she was in that state and that it went so quickly. And I did have an opportunity to see her and communicate with her, although she was not able to really speak. But she was.
Well, she did give some final words on you. So. That's you. Still that's you. 'Cause there he is.
Anybody else? Let's take a look. Rebecca Bernard.
Stop me in the track.
December 11, 1939. October 30th, 2022. That's really beautiful. And you know, having public art, it's really nice that this is one of the first. I mean, we have a few little pieces of public art, but this is the first one that's pretty substantial. I mean, thank you, Michael.
So this is all cast and polished concrete, glass inlay, various colors that Miss Becky Roth and Mary Ann had decided on, and came up with some sketches, and we all agreed on this more geometric shape. Of course, the lighting is a little bit different than it was, 5 hours ago, but it's a very impactful piece when you have direct sunlight coming through. It's a beautiful piece. Yeah, so in this piece, there are actual ashes of Becky inside the piece throughout. Okay. So when I was creating the piece, the whole thing is all ashes of Becky in there. So that was a very emotional, very different piece to work on for sure.
The thing about this piece is it changes as the light changes. It was sparkling this morning when we were all working in the garden.